The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League.
On this special episode of the Panthers Huddle, football is back. As the preseason begins, we chat with defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero.
Plus, an inside look at a Carolina legend's big night. Follow Julius Peppers as he gets inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And the story behind one of the most iconic plays in Panthers history.
What were you thinking when we called that play in the huddle? You laughed.
Hello and welcome to the Panthers Huddle. I'm Kristen Balboni.
And I'm Thomas Davis, and the 2024 preseason has begun, and the Panthers got their first action against the New England Patriots. Cannot wait to show you guys how that went.
And TD, you know how the preseason goes. Some of the starters had the night off, but it was a chance for the team to work out some of those kinks and turn months and months of meticulous planning into action. As NFL fans know, the preseason is not a great predictor of future outcomes, but it does give the team the opportunity to work on schemes and try new things. Unfortunately, the Panthers could not beat the Patriots.
They played cleaner football than us. I think we had 9 penalties to their 6, so we gave them that advantage right there from a field position standpoint, which put a couple of points on the board for them.
But the team still has a lot of work to do before the regular season kicks off in less than a month.
The execution just wasn't there. We put ourselves behind the sticks a bunch with some pre-snap penalties, holding calls, some things like that are things that we're going to have to work through. It's valuable reps, right, for these guys. The opportunity to play this many snaps in a preseason game for the guys that were up for this game it's invaluable. And Jack Plummer getting out there, and had a rough night, but it was just it's his first NFL game. And hopefully we'll get to the point where we can show him the film and just kind of show him, hey man, just trust your preparation, trust your timing from practice, and the joint practice is going to be a fantastic opportunity. We're going to still have to evaluate, because of just sheer numbers, we have to evaluate who we want playing in this game, because we got thin. We finished with 5 offensive linemen in this game. I got to tip my hat to those guys up front.
In practice, the offense is getting all the work they can handle from Jadeveon Clowney. The NFL veteran and Rock Hill native is proving to be a disruptor so far, in a good way, living up to that iron sharpens iron mindset.
It's much bigger than myself. It ain't about me. It's about the guys around me, trying to get them guys to develop or play hard or whatever y'all want to see us. I got to hold myself to a high standard, and that's how I approach the days when I walk in the building.
He's a great player. I'm getting better from him day in and day out. Obviously, he's just been lined up with the right tackle predominantly. So, I embrace that challenge, and, I appreciate him. Because, the harder these practices are, the easier Sundays will be.
Coach Dave Canales is praising the work his team put in practice this week. And according to many on the team, the motivation to compete is coming from within.
Last year, left a real bad taste in my mouth, so we don't need the coaches to give us rah-rah speeches. And, if certain players on the team see a downfall or see everybody not competing the way they're supposed to, then the players are the ones in charge to keep that stuff going.
Really search yourself. That's kind of the point we would like to make about not needing those rah-rah speeches. It should really come from within. And I think, just if we all take care of ourselves in the morning and make sure we're ready to go, we're gonna go that much further.
The Panthers have 2 more dress rehearsals before they begin the regular season in New Orleans on September 8th. Panthers fans, what a treat this is. I am here with none other than NFL Insider Ian Rapoport. Ian, thank you for taking a few minutes.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you are here at Panthers training camp in Charlotte. What do you look for when you come to a training camp?
I think for me, it's kind of getting a whole picture of what's going on with the team, right? Like, obviously, I actually basically come here every year, not here, but usually Wofford. Very nice that it's here, by the way. I think good for the fans, good for the players, certainly good for reporters.
Yeah.
Just try to understand what's happening, what's the landscape. So, obviously I watch practice like it's going on behind us, but I'll talk to coaches, talk to a GM, talk to assistants, just really understand what a place is about. And, I would say this is certainly much more promising and optimistic than it was at this time last year. I think for the coaches, for Bryce, for the rest of the players, roster's in better shape. I mean, it's certainly seems like it's looking up.
But what is the national conversation about what the Panthers need to show this year?
Well, I mean, it all revolves around the quarterback, right? That's, Bryce will get all of the focus, he'll get all the attention, he'll get all the headlines and all of that, which is fine because really what he is a symbol, right? If he is ascending, if he looks like the quarterback that the Panthers drafted, and let's be real, this guy was going number 1 no matter who was taking the pick. So it's not like not like the Panthers made some decision. Like, everyone had Bryce Young number 1. If he is making the strides that he should, if he looks like the promising young quarterback that the Panthers thought he was, then things are good here, right? No matter how many wins you get, right? If Bryce Young looks like a franchise quarterback, this place is on the rise. And that's, I think, what everyone will look at. So it's not like just about the quarterback, but it's really, he's a symbol for how to view the whole organization.
And from your perspective, have the Panthers put enough pieces around him with the offensive line, the receivers, for him to be able to showcase that?
Yeah, I think, that's why free agency is so important. Like, nobody cares about a guard. Nobody cares when you give a guard, even when you give a guard $20 million.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Not a lot of headlines, not a lot of retweets. To me, probably the most important free agent move of maybe all of them except for a couple other quarterbacks, right? Like, that's how you get your guy comfortable. You have to have a really strong middle. Like, you look at what New Orleans did with Drew Brees. They had 2 rock star guards and a really good center. That's what you'd like to have. And so to me, like, yes, like, receivers I think are going to be better. It sounds like Xavier Leggett's been really good. Like, I think the receiver room will be better. Jatavian Sanders sounds like really promising as a rookie. So, like, weapon-wise, I think it's all going to be good. But to me, spending the money on the offensive line was probably the smartest thing this organization could do.
Well, I'm going to let you get back, but before I do, I want to ask you one final question. What was the sentiment nationally when Dave Canales got hired?
Definitely a curiosity, because I think everyone knew what kind of a job he did in Tampa. I mean, Baker Mayfield now is a franchise quarterback. Yep. He was not at this time last year. He was like let's see what Tampa has. Let's see if he can resurrect his career. Well, give Baker a lot of credit, but a lot of the reason why he was so good was because of this guy, right? So I think people knew that. It's different being a head coach, but I think what people are going to learn and what Panthers fans are going to learn is, besides being an extremely smart football man and a really good teacher, Dave Canales is like a breath of fresh air. Like, he is someone you like to be around. You talk about coaches having juice, like, Dave Canales has juice.
He has bulletproof coffee. That's what he told me. A little bit more than juice. It's the whole shebang.
You know what? That does not surprise me.
Ian, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero joins us to talk about the 2024 Panthers defense.
This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Welcome back to Panthers Huddle. We are here with Panthers defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero. Coach, we are just a couple of weeks out from the regular season starting, and this defense, you brought back a lot of guys, you brought back a lot of coaches, but also brought in some new faces that have caused a lot of excitement in the fan base. Let's start with the one that's probably caused the most excitement, Jadeveon Clowney. This is a guy that's been in the league for a while. Is he someone you've watched over the years and just kind of picked apart his game as well?
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, I think any NFL coach would tell you that, like, starting in high school and even in college, obviously, this guy's kind of been like a local legend and somebody that a lot of coaches have seen with the big hits and explosive plays and all that stuff. And then, following his career, #1 overall pick, he's just coming off the best season of his career, and it doesn't look like he's dropped off one bit, even though he's up in around 30 years old now. So I'm so excited about having him, and it's been a lot of fun working with him.
Yeah, coming off a season with 9.5 sacks for the Baltimore Ravens, defense really kind of led a lot with that team as well. But as you said, he is the older head in this room. You've got a lot of younger pass rushers there. What do you kind of need from Clowney to help bring these younger guys along?
Just being himself, the wealth of knowledge that he has, the game experience, the things that coaches don't see and don't feel, he can articulate those things and communicate those things to the other players. And when guys see that standard of play too, they just know that they have to rise up to it. And all of those guys aspire to be those kind of players, and so it's great to have a role model like that in our room.
DJ Johnson, somebody that we've really kind of kept an eye on during training camp, has had some good days. What have you seen a difference in from him just from last year to this year?
It's just all of the reps and experience and time with Coach Tim and Coach Dom that is just it's all piling up now, and it's starting to pay forward. And so he's done a really good job. I think he has a great idea of who he is as a player, how he needs to play. He knows he needs to be a physical run stopper, play disruptive, chase the ball down, do all of those things. And so he has an identity. He lives up to it every day, and so it's been fun to work with him.
Behind those guys, you've got Josie Jewell now at linebacker, and then Jordan Fuller as well. Both guys that have not only played for you, but had some of their best years under you as well. Was it important to bring in people that already knew this system?
Yeah, I mean, that's always good, but it's more so they're good football players, they're great teammates. Those are winning players. So, like, if you want to have a winning team, a winning program, you got to have players like that. They're competitive, they work hard, they're productive on the field, but they're a great example for their teammates as well. They're great communicators. So all of those things. And so, like, yeah, I love those guys. They're very dear to me, but at the end of the day, too, it's a matter of, like, these guys are going to produce, and so we're excited about them.
Josie goes by the Outlaw. Do you have to explain that nickname to some of the younger guys on defense?
It took me a while to learn it, so yeah, but yeah, we finally got our hands around it.
Have you watched the movie yet?
A long time ago.
A long time, yeah. I think it's been on in the background one time when my dad was watching it. You bring back J.C. Horn, and then you also have Dane Jackson now on the other side. When you've got two corners, their chemistry is so important. How can you kind of facilitate that when we bring in a new guy like Dane?
Well, Dane's a pro. He obviously off to a great start in his career in Buffalo. He's a true professional, so he comes in, he works. And it's not just the chemistry with JC, but it's more so important with the safeties and the nickels and all that. And so, but this guy's a tireless worker in the classroom, on the field, and he's going to do everything he can to be ready to play. And
then the big guys in the middle, you bring in Ashawn Robinson, pair him with Derek Brown. Is that how much of your defense is going to kind of center around that front defensive line now?
Oh, I mean, it's a big part of it. That's where it starts, stopping the run. And so when you have two big anchors like that on the interior, it's going to be tough for people to run the ball. And so that's what we expect. Both of those guys, again, are like elite professionals. They prepare the right way. They've got the athletic ability. And we got the size profile inside that we want.
Last thing, Dave Canales told us the other day that is one of the reasons the offense has had a hard time the past couple of days is because having to face your defense. Has it been fun just kind of teeing off against these guys?
Oh yeah, it's always fun. We're all trying to make each other better, iron sharpening iron, and they do a lot of great stuff offensively that really presents challenges for us, and so we're getting better, they're getting better, and at the end of the day, we just want the Panthers to be the best.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank
See
you
you on the
much.
field.
Okay, sounds good.
Up next, we talk preseason with TD, and a Carolina legend earns his rightful spot among the game's greats.
Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
Welcome back to the Huddle. TD, it's time to talk preseason. You obviously know a lot about it. So I want to talk about what it's like for a starter, because a lot of times you're not playing. So what are you focused on?
It's an interesting take to hear guys talk about the preseason. So for me personally, I always took the preseason and went through that process like it was a real game, because I wanted to make sure by the time we got to week one, I was ready to go. So a lot of guys look at it differently, but for me, it was always a tune-up to get ready for that first game. So whenever I was able to go into that first game, I was going to have a strong showing.
And I've heard other players say, hey, I take this really easy so I can protect my body. So it is always interesting to hear how those veterans, how those starters approach things. But one thing that all the veterans do, I know, is support those younger guys, those guys trying to make the team. You see it on the field, you see it beforehand. So what was your approach to that, mentoring those young guys?
Listen, helping out in any way that I possibly can, because you develop a bond and a relationship with those guys over the course of those months. So you want to make sure that they put their best foot forward, and any advice that you can offer them as a veteran, as a starter, you wanted to make sure that you can help them out in any way. And that's what I always did as a player on the sideline when I was taken out of the game.
So this is a new offense under Dave Canales, new coaching staff, and then second year for Ejiro Evero and his defense. How do you ride the line in the preseason, like from working those kinks out as we talked about, but also not showing too much? Like you're in your base defense, like how does that work?
Just that, you run your basic coverages that everybody's gonna run. You run your cover 2, your cover 3, and you sprinkle in some man coverage without being too exotic on defense and showing anything.
Not to oversimplify it, but is it safe to say that a lot of the times the starters show what they're doing in training camp on the field, and then the preseason is a lot more for those other guys?
Absolutely, and you hit the nail right on the head. That's exactly how it goes. You start doing some of your things that you know with guys that are gonna be on this roster, that are gonna be on this team, so that once week 1 rolls around, they're ready to go. But with the younger guys, you try to implement some smaller things, some minor things, so that when they go out and they're playing in the preseason, you can see how athletic they really are.
And you don't want used to the game,
you don't really want them to have to think about what they're doing. You want them to be out there and go play fast, so that once they're on the field, you can make your decisions on whether this guy can play in the NFL or whether he can't.
And finally, TD, you know, as a former player, as a great former player, you look for different things in preseason games than maybe the fans do. So what do you want to see from this Panthers team in the remaining preseason games?
You know, for me, it's all about execution. I want to see how these guys go out and take what they've learned on the practice field to the game field. As the preseason goes on, you want to see guys show and prove that they can play on the NFL level. And that's what it's all about in the preseason, whether it's offense, defense, or on special teams. These guys have to earn their keep.
Well, that is TD's keys to the preseason. And TD, switching gears a little bit, you were in Canton recently for a very special event, your friend Julius Pepper's induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We have got all the highlights for you right now. Check it out.
Hall of Famer number 377, Julius Pepper.
Since I got the news, it was in, I think, February or January. I thought that it was going to be, I was going to have a lot of time until August, but that time went by so fast. And now this weekend is finally here, so it's showtime and it's time to go. Yeah, I hit him. I hit you real quick. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. There you go. It was great to be able to stay home around my family and friends. It was great just to be around all of that support. So I had a great career in Carolina, and I'm proud of it. I want to thank everyone, all of you, for being here to celebrate with me, the other enshrinees and our families, and Panther Nation. You can travel the world, but there's no place like home. So thank you for having my back since the day I was drafted and always showing me love. And just know, our time is coming. So, in the words of the great Sam Mills, just keep pounding.
It's settling in, it's sinking in, you know. The jacket fits, the bust is finally in there. Even though sometimes it's still kind of unbelievable when they say you're one of the greatest players to ever play, it's still kind of hard to wrap your head around because I just don't think of myself like that.
You know, TD, some plays are just memorable. They stick in your memory forever, whether you're a fan or a former NFL player.
And some plays you just like to flat out forget. But there are some, like you said, KB, that absolutely stick with you forever. And former Panther quarterback Steve Birdline has a play that is going to stick with him for the rest of his life. 25 years ago, he was able to lead the Panthers to this game-winning play.
Put rushing touchdown.
I know what to put, all right? Just don't worry about this.
He already knows how to search it. All he had to do was put Birdline rushing touchdown. How many videos can there be?
There's a bunch of them.
It's all on the line right here. Birdline under center. Floyd goes in motion right. Birdline takes the snap. He's going to run it himself. 2-1. Yeah! Touchdown! Birdline wins it! Birdline wins it! And the Panthers have won it on the last play.
It buffed your career rushing record of rushing yardage from 0 point.
You guys called it a quarterback sneak, too. That's a bunch of baloney.
No,
you
said
it was quarterback.
No,
we're going to run a draw from the 1 yard line? What did you say? What were you thinking when we called that play in the huddle? You laughed. I walked in the huddle.
What I was
you weren't in there because we weren't in big goal line personnel. I walked in the huddle, and it was TV timeout, and I knew what was going to happen. You guys always want to know the play. All the linemen want to know the play beforehand, and you two, you were always like, Burr, what's the play, Birdline? So I said, you guys aren't going to believe this. We're going to run the quarterback draw. And everybody in that huddle started laughing like he's laughing right now. Just laughing so hard.
You could have yelled it, and Green Bay
wouldn't
have
have
believed it.
And then the referee blows the whistle to start the clock, and everybody's like, what's the play? Give us the real play. And I'm like, we're running the quarterback draw. And then you guys started cussing at me like, give us the play, man. We got to go. The clock's running. And I just said, you guys just go out there and block your butts off. I will get this thing I will soar into the end zone, which is pretty much what I did. I took it to the house.
I don't think he has ever soared.
So if you listen to the broadcast, our announcer was Bill Rosinski.
Bill Rosinski.
And I was not known for my speed. as we all know. I was using the butt of every joke for my speed. But Bill Rosinski, when you listen to him on the radio, he's like, if Berline drops back to pass, oh, he's going to run it. He's at the 5. He's at the 4. He's at the 3. He's at the 2. He's at the 1. He's in. That's how long it took me to go 5 yards. So,
I mean, it's just a special, unique bond that you have with those guys. And I mean, and just the fact, just the Panthers organization to bring these guys back and to tell our story and to be around each other, I think it speaks volumes about just this, you know, this organization and what they mean to the Carolinas and what they mean to us.
Whenever we do get a chance to get together, the stories come back and you remember things that you'd forgotten about a long time ago, but brings those memories back to life, like me soaring into the end zone in that one special play. But to have those memories and those experiences, it was an incredible thing to be a part of. And I mean, I was just so grateful to have those years with the Carolina Panthers in the early days. Yep. You know, proud to be a Panther. Right. What is it? Keep pounding, right? Keep pounding. That's right.
All right, that is going to do it for us on this week's Huddle. So on behalf of Panthers insider Cassidy Hill, on behalf of Panthers legend Thomas Davis, I'm Kristen Balboni. Thank you so much for watching, and
remember to keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.